officially call the meeting to order. Councilor London?
Present.
Councilor Spivey?
Present.
Councilor Beard?
I'm here too.
Councilor Wilson?
Present.
Myself present. Y'all have had a chance to go over the minutes of pre-council and regular council for January 18th, 2018. Does anyone have any suggestions to make any changes, or do I have a motion to accept as submitted?
I'll make a motion that since all council members have been given a copy of the minutes, that the reading of such be dispensed with and they be approved as submitted.
Do I have a second? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Abstain.
Who abstained?
Aye.
Chris, you okay? Wasn't here. All right, thank you. And then, Councilor Spivey, would you mind going over approval of bills?
Absolutely. I make a motion for the approval of current bills for payment in the amount of $95,194.91.
Second.
Question. Question.
Sorry, I'm reading, I'm used to reading for the paper. I apologize.
Okay.
I
wouldn't mind being.
I know, right? I like that number. That's a good number.
That's why I asked question.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
$371,623.36.
Yes, I make a motion for the approval of current bills for payment, $371,623.36.
So I have a second on that amount.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Do we have any professional or consultant reports tonight? All right, thank you. Mayor, any?
Yes, several things, actually. If I may first,
Yes, please.
I have Commissioner Knight come and speak as part of this.
Please.
Commissioner Knight? Yes, sir. We'll defer some of my time to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, thank you all for letting me not be on the agenda, but come and address the council. This is something we've been working at a little bit as far as the through road agreements that we wish to enter into with the city of Irondale. As you know, back in 1992, the county and the city agreed that, there was, I think there was 4 roads that the county would maintain, that's through roads through the Irondale. And in 1995, there was a statute passed that says if a municipality annexes both sides of a road within the city limits, then that road becomes theirs. Okay. And then in 2002, there was an upgraded amendment to the through road agreements between the county and Irondale. And I have both of those for your review. In 2009, as you know, before our time, the county unilaterally told all the cities that we're no longer maintaining the through roads. And then we went through the bankruptcy and everything. Then what we're trying to do is put those through road agreements back together. The statute does allow the cities and the county to enter into an agreement that we will, agree that this is the roads that we will maintain, and that way there's no disagreement on whose road is what for the duration. I have a copy of the 92 agreement, 2002 agreement. I don't have the 2009 recension, but I do have the new proposal from Jefferson County as far as what roads we will maintain through the city of Irondale. I'd like to, just present y'all a copy. You don't have to. It's a little much probably to review and vote on tonight. We've talked with your public works and the mayor, and there was a couple of roads that we kind of had a little bit of, well, who's going to take this one, who's going to take this one, but as part of this agreement, and it would certainly put in writing, there's the Grants Mill Road project, and this was something that's been looked at, and what the county is willing to do is to, there was some studies done and then the city was gonna participate, county participate, and the state participate. And I understand that due to the economic blow that you guys took out here, then we would certainly take that into consideration. And the county would then do the Grants Mill Road project from Interstate 459 back to Old Ridge Road. And we will undertake that project in 4 lane. And not ask the city to have to put out any money on that. So that's kind of what I was here for, and would like to, if I may, give you all a copy of these, the road agreements and the new road proposed agreement, and just, we'll go from there. How about that?
Sounds good.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
I gave you.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Any additional comments, Commissioner?
Well, I have one little additional coin in my pocket, but I won't disclose that now. Y'all take a look at these, and then maybe we can reach some sort of agreement in the future to at least get this, you know, because I do have the option of rescinding the 2009 through road agreement, and then it reverts back to the 2002, which is only, I think, 4 roads. So I don't want to do that. I'd rather us all agree on through roads so that we're all kind of, you know, getting this together and get this resolved. Any questions?
Mayor, any additional comments?
No, I'll just say, I have not reviewed this document that he gave you. He just indicated that, he indicated
Thank you.
that he had changed a couple of things from our last review, so I'll have to look at that. I know at the time that we last met, which was a week or so ago, we were in agreement with the exception of one road, so, one street. So, I don't know with the changes here now, we'll go back and review that, but, we were within one road of being in agreement at least a week ago, and maybe 2 or 3 roads off now, I'm not sure. So, is that what you were indicating to me, that you changed a couple of them? 2. Okay, and we'll just have to look at those, and I can come back and let you know what we find. Frank's done a great job and shepherding it through and reviewing it, so.
So what would be basically coming forward would be the actual proposal and.
Yeah, you all end up having to approve whatever the final agreement is, and we'll get that information to you, so.
Thank you.
All right.
I have a couple of other items, I'm sorry.
With the addition that we will do the Grants Mill Road project, and then that'll be our road.
What 2
And
roads
that's-
you took off, I'm sorry. What 2 roads you say you took off?
Well, we was, one of them was 16th Street, I believe,
16th Street was the one that was remaining in question. You were wanting us to take it, and we were saying that it was a county road, but then, I don't know, you said Georgia Road, if you're including 16th on that as well.
Well, Georgia Road, I think, is.
It's just a little small part of Georgia.
Right. Well, and that it probably got inadvertently left off, and we would take the road all the way to Georgia Road.
Joe, question on the map, you've got some roads marked in red. Are those the ones that the city is taking, or the
That would be the
county?
ones we would say.
The red
Yes.
markings are the ones that
Yes.
the county is taking? Okay.
Which includes 459 to Old Leeds.
Yes, that's the Grants Mill.
That's Grant, yeah, Grant's
Yeah,
Road.
and then we would take over that. Because we would fix it, and I think the issue is both ends need some real attention.
Right.
We would do that, and then 4 lane, and then once we do that, it's out.
Does that include the bridge at the Hopper River on the Grants Mill?
No, sir, I think that's is that on the other side?
It's on our side of the,
We're talking about between 459.
I'm talking about the bridge over the river.
He's talking about 459 to Old Leeds Road.
No, I'm talking about, he's taking it over, the bridge is included.
I believe
Okay.
that's the.
He's talking about the.
Oh,
north
okay,
side.
all right, so I see, all right, thank you, sir. I see that.
Do you, this is more of an engineering question, Joe, and I appreciate your time tonight. Any more ideas on what the 4-lane project would look like? I know there's been
It's
several.
gonna look marvelous.
I know there's been several options. I didn't know if y'all were leaning in one particular direction or the other.
As far as.
Will it splits? Will
No,
it go
I
through
think
the
what
cut?
we're gonna try to do is take down part of the mountain there and 4
And
lanes.
keep it all one road?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you, well, excuse me, are you saying that you are going to 4-lane it?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that was not what we talked about the other day.
Right, well, that's an update.
It is.
And that's the part that the state said we couldn't do because of the houses up on the hill.
No,
Yeah, that
it was the topography. That was, it was the hill.
Yes, it was the actual hill. We may have to buy some of those houses to do it. At least one, that I know of. So, it's a big project, but we'll undertake it.
Thank you.
I know that we had all talked about joining in and doing it at one time, but things change, and so we'll undertake it. And the state will put some money in it, but, you know, we'll do the road without asking input from the city. And then it'll be our road to maintain.
What's the timeline on that? What's the timeline?
Commissioners, council.
I want to get through that.
I'll take this.
He left his crystal ball back in the office.
I'm not sure I have the timeline, but I understand that this is kind of a priority to get done.
Thank you. Appreciate it so much, Mr. Knight. Thank you. Mayor, did you have some additional comments?
Yeah, I'll keep mine short, I'll give you all this. If you all would pass those around.
Thank you.
This is information.
More homework.
This is information that you all actually received, most of it a year ago, with the exception of maybe a couple of pieces of it. It involves the agreement that the previous council formed with the, on the Ruffner ballparks with Slam, what's called Slam Sports.
Yeah.
I asked you all about a year ago to take a look at this, and Councilor London is the liaison to this group by council action. And anyway, here's my position on this. I just think you deserve, the gentleman who has this contract needs an answer. Needs an answer whether the city is going to honor the contract and continue to go forward, or whether other folks are going to take care of the ball fields, or the city's going to take care of the ball fields. I've mentioned this to you several times, that's why I'm giving it to you again in writing, because I think it is totally unfair to him to be spending money, bringing dirt in, whatever he's doing, and you can see the contract and what the agreement was. It's unfair to him if we're not going to follow that through long term. Whether you keep the contract or annul the contract doesn't make a lot of difference to me. But what does make a lot of difference to me is that we be fair to the people involved, and that we either reaffirm the agreement or do away with it. James,
How would Field 3 come into play now that it's been made into a ballpark? I mean, into a dog park.
Mayor?
How would Field 3 come into play now since it's been made into a dog park?
Well, if you accept his proposal, he's proposing, there's two things there. There's the original agreement for upkeep of the fields and what he was allowed to do. And then there's a proposal, a recent proposal from him on developing and implementing the recreational sports program. And so that's kind of my point. How it comes into play is the man needs an answer of whether or not we're gonna stand by that contract, or whether there's provisions in it to cancel it. You can go either way. It's not that tough to do either one. But I mean, if I were in his place or if I were in your place, I wouldn't want to have him incurring cost, and then 6 months from now we'll do something else. I mean, there's there's a group that is now promoting baseball and all, and he wants to know, I mean, he saw the signs up, and I think he contacted Frank and said, is that my answer? Does that mean somebody else is doing it, or do you want me to do it? And we just need to know, and Frank and his department, you know, that agreement that was made several years ago, talks about who will maintain the fields and who will do that. That has not been done, and then it looks bad on the city because it looks like we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, yet the contract says that somebody else is supposed to be doing it. So it's just, we just need to know whether you want the contract enforced or whether you want to do away with the contract, so that I know how to instruct staff, so that we know how to carry out the business. Either we manage it and maintain it, or we don't. And certainly be less work on us if we don't. But we also don't want a poor reflection, and right now what we have is a poor reflection on the city because of the lack of maintenance to the fields.
So I have one question. So Mayor, this question to you, you know, I think John and I talked, he called me, and he was just disappointed. So my question to you, when you made the interview, putting the dog park at Ruffner, did you ever consider John at that time? You had the contract in your hand. Did you ever consider him at that time? And why now will you consider him? Why is he so important now?
It's not now. The information I passed out to you is a year old. This is an email I sent to you a year ago.
I'm just
So
saying.
it's not, I'll only say this, I'm not gonna get into a public
Okay.
debate with you.
That's the
But it's
question.
not just now. I mean, the date on the email is March the 28th, 2017. It's addressed to John London. And so it's not just now, it's been ongoing, and I've mentioned it at several other meetings. And all I'm asking is for you to be fair to people that we do business with, one way or the other, to say yes or no. And then we know how to go. At this point, we're out there like a ship without a rudder, just floating around, not getting anywhere, and no one knows who's on first.
So again, you know, you made the interview at Ruffner about putting the dog park there. That's where it all started. And we had a suggestion to not put it. That's where it started. And we had a suggestion here from the council to not put it there because I did consider him and move it at Eller, and that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Let me finish. That didn't happen. And we talked about it, and we saying if you want a permanent dog park, let's not put it at Ruffner. Let's put it at Eller. We can make it a permanent there. But you did the interview. We didn't get an interview. You interviewed in front of Ruffner Park. That's where you want to put the dog park.
I think the point that's being made tonight is we need to make a decision. It's not a debate on what's happened before. We need to make a decision.
Can I finish this, President? Why do you have to defend the mayor all the time?
I'm not defending the mayor, I'm just saying we're past that.
Can I
This is a part of a
Can I say my
discussion.
point?
Is there another point to be made?
Yes, I'm gonna make my point. All right.
Please get to it then.
All right.
Finish.
Excuse me for
Thank
you.
Please, go right ahead.
All right, let me make my point. All right. All of a sudden now, this contract is important, when he didn't consider this contract when he was interviewing. All of a sudden, he's trying to make the council look bad and think this contract is important now. It's always been important. This contract has always been important. So now we want to make a decision. All of a sudden, we want to make a decision on this contract, who's been in effect, yes, last council, who's been in effect, yes, I am the chairperson, the committee chairperson. Also, I'm just that, committee chairperson. I didn't make the decision, the council made the decision.
That's right.
Right. The council made a decision, and all of a sudden, this contract is important. He's concerned about John DeRue now? Come on, man, come on.
So I guess I made the decision to put the dog park there, or did the council make it?
You interviewed in front of the
No,
dog park.
remember what I said. Who made the decision?
You interviewed.
Who made the decision? You just asked the question.
Oh, that's where you wanted it. That's
You're
exactly
the
where.
one that suggested the field that it's on.
That's exactly where you wanted
You
it.
all voted.
Gentlemen, can we move on to something else? I believe the whole purpose being made tonight is we need to look at it and make a decision whether to enforce it or to cancel it. That's something for future reference, and that's all we're talking about. It's not a debate of what's happened. It's not a debate of when it happened. It's not making the council look bad. We just need to do our job and make a decision.
Stop blaming the council and stay on
It's
your
no
own.
blame on the council,
Let's move the
please.
city forward.
Okay, thank you. You made your
Let's move the city
point.
forward.
Council Wilson,
Yeah, I would like to make
Stop throwing rocks.
just
Stop
a
throwing
slight
rocks.
comment. Council President, in all due respect, That's between Council London and the mayor.
Correct.
So I think Council London needs to speak with the mayor. I think the council needs to stay out of it. I think you need to stay out of it. I think that's between Council London and the mayor.
Thank you.
They need to handle it.
That's obviously.
But that part, but again,
No, it's not personal. It's not personal. Council London was just stating facts, but I think it needs to be handled outside of
Thank
this.
you very much. Anytime anybody can pick off, I come.
It's not
so
personal.
we're moving
I
on,
come.
It's not
correct?
I come. All right.
Nothing's personal.
I come. Anytime anybody come up, I'll come. We'll sit down. We'll sit down. Mayor.
Do we have any department head reports tonight? Anybody present for department head report? All right, thank you. Okay, any council members, standing committees, or special committee reports? All right, tonight, starting with Councilor Wilson, any comments tonight, sir?
No, I'll make a comment as we talk about the first item on the
Okay.
agenda.
Councilor
No
Bearden.
I don't have a report, however, I have a question of the mayor and Frank. I see occasionally a street light out here and there, some that come on for a little while and go out. And I see our bill to the power company this month is $27,732. We're paying for street lights whether they're running, whether they're working or not. Would it be possible to have someone from your department, or Frank, Mayor Frank's department, to work one evening, a quarter, and ride through the city and record the street lights that are out so we can get them working again?
We do that now. The police department also reports daily when there's lights out, and then we go about quarterly, we send someone out.
Okay, very good.
If you see a pole
I
with
wasn't aware of that.
If you see a pole with a ribbon around it,
Uh-huh.
it's marked by us as a
Okay.
job and a power.
All right, very good, thank you. That's
No
all
additional
I've got
comments,
tonight.
Councilor Spivey?
Sidewalks are going in. That's exciting news along Montevallo. And if you're on that path, I really hope that you've gotten a notice. I don't know, is anybody on that path here? Have you gotten a notice?
Oh, on that path, I thought you meant like.
On the path of the sidewalk that's going in?
No, I
or-
apologize.
Okay, gotcha, no worries, thank you. Well, it's still a very exciting project. It's been a long time coming. I know a lot of people have worked on this, so I'm excited to see it go through. I drive past there every day, and they're working expeditiously to get that done. Had a meeting a few weeks back in this office with a bunch of people from Birmingham City, Jefferson County, ADM, Friends of Shades Creek. I'm going to lead someone out. Just a great group of people discussing the potential for some stormwater management and stream rehab and bank rehab along the Shades Creek area. Major focus being that area in front of Simply Fashion. So a lot of energy around that meeting. I think we have an opportunity to do some great things, and we have a lot of very highly, and Nature Conservatory was also there, have a really good opportunity to do something really exciting along that creek bed that will really make that look much, much better. It is one of our gateways, it's a focus, so just stay tuned on that, and I'll report anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor London.
Thank you. You got a copy, council, you got a copy of this agreement from Ruffner? All right, take a look at it, review it. It'll be on the next council agenda, and we'll make a decision then.
One comment tonight, found out that we finally have an abatement board come to fruition. The property on Ivywood has been torn down. I think it was actually paid for, we think, through the bank that was holding some lien on the property. But that piece of property has been before the abatement board probably 10 years or better, but finally it's been brought to fruition. Everything was served, the house is gone, so and it was a major site that needed to be depleted. No other comments for me tonight. Going to reports of boards and non-council.
If I might tag on to that, another similar property, just so you know, we've been dealing with Siesta Motel for some time. It has been shut down, at least for the time being. We're working, we've been working on that for about 6 months, giving them an opportunity to bring things up to code. Didn't quite get there. They still have that opportunity, but it is really not feasible to bring it up to code or practical too, so we expect that long-term there'll be some disposition of that property.
And did everybody hear that comment? Okay.
We can't hear the mayor. He doesn't have a microphone.
This was the fact that The Siesta Motel next to Golden Rue has been closed due to the fact that they can't meet code. And the chances that they will be able to meet code in a manner that would allow them to stay in business probably will not happen, because it would almost be a total tear down and rebuild. So at this point, it is closed.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I think, Ms. Shoemaker, you were wanting to come forward on your, thank you.
Good evening. May I turn this way?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Tellis Shoemaker. I'm Executive Director of the Greater Irondale Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like to invite all of you to our membership meeting this Thursday, Pine Tree Country Club, from 11:30 until 1. We are going to be hosting the mayor, who is going to give his state of the city. So I hope that you will consider being there. It's $20 for members, $25 for non-members. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
11:30 to 1.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, do I have a motion on the agenda?
Make a motion the agenda be approved as submitted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And now we will open up for public comments on agenda items only. And if you would be kind enough, please, to fill out one of the sheets of paper in the back when you come forward. And please try to limit your comments to the 3-minute time limit. Thank you.
I have Ann Steves, 5637 Hampton Road. I have participated in Springfest every year that it has been held, but I am here to speak against the resolution that funds that Springfest. If I understand the position, the financial position of the city right now, we barely have money to pay for what we must have, let alone what we would like to have. The other thing is there's a referendum coming up on April 10th, and I think the city would like people to vote yes to that referendum. But I think the city residents are also looking very carefully at the council to see how fiscally conservative you all are. And whether you like it or not, you are all role models. Sorry to tell you that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. Any additional comments on agenda items only? Sorry, Cindy.
That's all right. I think I can speak loud enough. Cindy Cuellar, 5729 Belmont Drive. I also am concerned about the city's budget. We're at a deficit. We're talking about a referendum. We'll still be at a deficit even if that referendum passes. We had unforeseen, and these are unforeseen things that happened with Sam's clothing shop. And we're only 4 months into our fiscal budget, and we need to take that into account. Yes, we do have reserves, but reserves are for emergencies, unforeseen things that we don't know are going to happen. So this year is something we'd like to have, but it's not a need, nor is it an emergency, and we need to tighten our belts, and we can't be spending money that we don't have. I like going to the city, you know, to go into the Spring Fest, but we just don't have the money. And I'm asking the council to be fiscally responsible. If you want the citizens to support a referendum, you have got to demonstrate that you are being fiscally responsible. And by voting for this, it is not being fiscally responsible because we don't have the money. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else? Please. Thank you.
Pat Frazier, 541 Conway Lane. I'd like to support the Spring Fest because I've been in Irondale for 37 years, and unfortunately, I hate to admit it, but I've never been to except for one whistle stop. And I can't really explain that other than when I first came to the community, I didn't really feel like I was welcome to it. And so I just never even thought about it. And so it wasn't until the Spring Fest came that I started getting out and actually getting to know a little bit about the city. So I think it's a good thing to have, especially if we're gonna have a whistle stop. Now, if we're gonna cut all of it out, then I agree. We can't afford it. But if we're gonna have another festival, we need to have a Spring Fest as well to create some balance and some diversity in our community.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mike Abel. Is the expired part of the resolution?
It's an
Part of the
agenda.
agenda?
This is an agenda, very good.
So I have the first public comment I would like to say is regarding widening of Grants Mill. The 4-lane road up there is going to.
Okay.
That's not an agenda item?
We'll have a chance to comment on things like that at the end of the meeting, yes, sir.
Okay, I can back up later. Okay, so then the Spire.
If you're looking at anything to do with the funding of the Spring Fest, or anything to do with the right-of-way for the Spire Company, putting gas lines, those are the two items on the agenda.
All right, so I'd like to talk about Spire.
Yeah, that's what you're talking
Okay,
about.
please.
Okay, I didn't know if that was, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I would like to see with, first of all, have you all heard of the Red Rock Ridge and Valley Trail System?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, Red Rock Ridge and Valley Trail System has been in the works as a master plan for upwards of 10 years, and it came out of our 1 mile, and it's a lot of the metropolitan planning organizations, and there's all these non-governmental, so it's out there, it's huge. And they're trying to work with willing landowners to make greenways and public spaces for recreation. And essentially, me as a community advocate, I see this Spire project would be a great way to get something back from a public utility who is going to do a good job of fixing leaky gas lines. That's great. But what does the community really get? And perhaps, you know, the $42,000 isn't enough. Maybe they should be giving more. Maybe they should be going the extra mile and actually helping the community by delivering something that is tangible on the surface besides just something that's awesome underneath the surface. So I would very much encourage you to table that resolution, investigate more fully, consider the value that they're actually providing and what the city's going to get and what the community gets. Because that Ruffner corridor is known, it's well known, well documented, well researched that it needs transportation improvements from both walking, biking, connectivity, etc. So it's, I've spoken with Jeff Wilcox myself to try to just get more information to say, hey, have you presented this to the city? Have you considered that you guys could do so much more for the social well-being of this community?
Appreciate your comment. I cut you off, but we do have a 3-minute limit.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anyone else in the audience on agenda items? Please.
Chris Metcalf, business owner and resident, 1849 Crestwood Boulevard. I feel like the two ladies that we should not support the Spring Fest. And if it means cancelling the whistle stop, I also support that too. But I don't think we need to be spending money, considering that businesses are putting in 70% of the business. I may be the only resident business that actually lives here in Irondale. So I would feel that I don't think that should be supported, considering the businesses are putting 70% of the money that you spend. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate that. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm Carly Sanford. I'm an Irondale resident, 2316 2nd Avenue North. I'm following up with what Michael was talking about on the Spire resolution. I would just like to ask that the council and the city take some time and really evaluate this offer. I understand the financial situation that Irondale is in, but I also think that this is the last time the pipeline was laid was in 1948. So y'all are dealing with something that is going to be almost 100 years before it comes up again. So it's a very important matter, and there's only a few entities or utilities or companies that have the type of resources. So while the money is important, is this the best
scenario of the city of Irondale, considering all the needs from soccer to ballparks to baseball fields, all the things that the citizens are wanting, just give it a little bit more time and a little bit more research.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional comments?
All right. Comment before we go in. I want to make a comment on a particular agenda item, and I kind of mentioned this during our last council meeting about the appropriation of funding for this Irondale Spring Fest. One thing I want to make clear is that I run my own house in a conservative way. So don't think I'm just gonna sit up here and just spend city money just willingly, just freely, okay? Let's make that clear now. This particular appropriation right here, and I'm gonna make it brief, is the appropriation that the council decided on around 2012, 2013, somewhere around that time. There were some councilors here that was there then. We raised lodging tax at that particular time. We raised lodging tax to specifically bring events, to specifically try to drive traffic into the city, to enhance the way of life for our citizens. So that's how all of this originated, based on the lodging tax that was increased during that time. Fast forward. Now, in our budget, based on the lodging tax that we receive, I think it's around 200, 250, what's that line item, James, just for lodging tax? 360, okay. We receive up to $360,000 as far as the lodging tax for the city of Irondale. But just note that in 12 or 13, we raised the percentage to bring events, festivals, whatever the case may be, to the city of Irondale. Fast forward, as far as this appropriation right here, this is supposed to come out of that specific increase that we voted on back in 12 or 13. I understand the debt that the city is in right now, even though I believe it's inflated. And the numbers will come out. The true numbers of our debt will come out later. But I too believe that we don't need to spend money just frivolously. I mean, just like it's running water. I agree. I totally agree. But as a councilor who voted to raise lodging tax at that particular time, a certain percentage, and then say to our citizens that no, we're not gonna have anything for the city, or we're not gonna do anything for our citizens, our kids, anything like that, that's making me look bad, okay? Because I specifically remember this is why we did it.
Well, if you'd like to pass those down, that's an actual copy of the ordinance, and it says restricted use of funds, the city's council shall appropriate all of the monies received from the lodging tax.
Hold on one second.
Economic
Hold on one second.
Project in
This is my time.
Okay,
this is my time.
Don't
this
make
is
it
my
sound
time.
like it was specifically done.
This is my time.
It was not.
And
Please.
this is the ordinance back in what, 2004.
The one you passed.
This was amended. This particular ordinance, this is not the right ordinance. This was amended. So basically, when we agreed on that lodging tax, 3 of the councilors were here. And we specifically stated that a portion, as far as what was raised, was to be used towards that type of activity. So, you know, it can either be voted up or down. I'm just going back to say, as far as the Spring Fest, and I'll go back to the numbers. As far as the numbers that I got, that I just received, as far as the vendorship, James, I know you received some numbers, but we received almost $12,500 as far as in sponsorships. Now, true enough, and I'll go back and look, but the numbers that I got is that we spent, as far as paying out vendors and fees like that, it was close to $15,000. So I go back to say that the city only spent anywhere from $25,000 to $3,000 on this particular event. Now, to say that $2,000 to $3,000 compared to what we have collected in lodging tax that was raised during that time, that's pennies. So basically, you know, you can say all you want. 3 of us was here, and this is what we voted on. So now we're rescinding, or we going back on what we promised to our citizens. But we can either vote it up or down. Okay, that's all it is.
I think we've already had
I'm
a
not going to
discussion
lose any
before
sleep
we
over.
actually have the amendment
But it's-
going forward. But anyway, Councilor Beard.
You know,
Yeah, I
we
agree.
don't have to prolong it.
I agree with Bobby Joe that we did.
You don't have to agree.
Well,
We can vote it up or down. We can vote it up or down.
I was here when we voted the increase on the lodging tax, and we said that half of the money that was to be increased on lodging tax, we would use for events brought to the city, such as Spring Fest and Whistle Stop and so forth. That is true. However, I feel like the physical situation we are in now, because of the leaving of Sam's Club and the deficit we had in the budget last year and the potential deficit this year, we don't need to be spending, as Cindy said, money we don't have. Yes, we said that we would use half of that money, half of the increase for those events, but we've got to be physically responsible as well, so that we can provide services that the city and citizens need.
So I think we're going to punish our citizens for $2,000 or $3,000.
I know we're gonna have a finance committee, meeting on the 15th, James. As soon as you get the books closed out for January and we have a good quarterly view of what we've done thus far, if you could get those reports to me, I'd appreciate it, so we could have a little time to review it. I think there are some other matters that I plan to address at that meeting that impact the budget. Bobby Joe, I am in favor of these. I like the festivals. I think they're very important. I don't like the lodging tax thing necessarily, okay? I think that I could say, okay, honey, let's plan a vacation, and I've set up a savings account to pay for that vacation, but my wife loses the job. Just because I set aside the money in the savings account to take vacation doesn't mean we still go. So can we find another way to do it is what I would prefer. I don't necessarily agree with your argument.
Well, let me add this, and like I said, we don't have to prolong it. Let's just vote on it. But let me say this: we didn't just raise lodging tax to bring events into the city. We also included in that increase is that we were going to do something to advertise our hotels in the community. They were also going to profit from this by the city providing advertisement each time we had an event. We were going to advertise. We were going to promote Hampton Inn. We were going to promote Holiday Inn. We were going to promote those entities that would benefit from bringing people into the city. That was the sole reason. So let's just vote. Let's just vote up or down. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Yes, sir. Commissioner Guy. It's all good. I'm not going to lose any sleep.
You know, at the county, we have certain community development funds allotted to each commissioner for their district to help in the different communities, and I would offer $3,000 from my discretionary community development fund for the spring festival, if that would help you. I know this is a touchy subject, but
right.
I would offer that for that spring festival.
Thank you for your comment.
Commissioner, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So at this point, we have.
You got one more?
I have another possible answer for you. Was it last year, Ron Bishop did a GoFundMe for some park benches? Well, how about we do a GoFundMe for Spring Fest? They give you some money.
Okay, gentlemen, it's on the table. It hasn't been voted on or read. We have a resolution that says Resolution 2018R 07 appropriates funding for the Irondale Spring Festival in an amount not to exceed $8,000.
I'll make a motion that resolution 2018 R-07 be approved.
Second.
Question, got a question.
There was a second.
Can I get a question?
Question. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can we add commissioners, 3,000 in here,
To take it to 5.
and take the 5 out, and take whatever out? Can we amend it?
We've already approved the
We already
agenda.
approved it,
Approved
yeah.
the resolution.
Got to vote it up or down.
We can table it.
Right now, there is a motion on the floor to vote up or down,
And a second.
and it's been seconded. So we need to take a vote at this point, Councilor London.
But we do have commissioners.
We've got commissioners
Yeah.
money out there,
Right.
So actually it'd be 5.
so we need to figure out.
Well, the resolution says not to exceed.
Oh, that's
So
right.
it can
So
be-
that, so that includes.
So that's
Okay.
me about trying to reduce it, because if you get the 3,000 and if you adopt the resolution, then you would only use the 5, so it's not to exceed.
His offer has nothing to do with the motion
Right, right.
or deciding. on-
But before I call for a vote, just one quick question for the city clerk. Did we do anything other than in-kind last year for Whistle Stop?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure we did.
Okay. Okay.
For all of us, for all of us.
So we were able to last year, but
Yeah.
we got different situations.
12,000.
Okay. Okay. We have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. We'll have a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
No. Motion fails. We will be discussing it though at your discretion. Councilor Spivey at your at the Finance Committee meeting. And before we move on, there is a Finance Committee on the 15th at 5:30. We also have had we will try to have the Industrial Development Board meeting at 5 o'clock that day before the meeting in order to get out some business out of the way. It's basically just functionary. It's something that we have to do to transfer a lease that's been paid off. Okay. Second resolution.
I make a motion that resolution 2018 R-08 be tabled until such time as the deed can be corrected for the correct money amount.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Now we are open from public comments on anything other than agenda items. And again, if you would please fill out your paperwork when you come forward.
I have a quick comment.
Go ahead.
Just know when the council raise taxes, that is going towards the general fund. To raise taxes is going towards general fund and not what its intent is.
Okay, Connie Webb, 2235 Mountain Road, property tax. I've mentioned this to a few of y'all, and I'd like to see something on the property tax, besides what we've heard on the commercials, that, with the Sam's and the property tax. Put something in a garbage bin. Let these people, if you want, St. Clair just got theirs turned down. We're gonna get it turned down if you don't put it out there. Why we need it? We haven't raised it in X number of years. Where we stand based on other cities, and put it in the garbage bin. Let people know why we need property taxes. If you don't tell them, all they're going on right now is we're due because of Sam's Club. We were already talking about the property tax before Sam's Club. If you've got to let the people know if you want them to vote, you've got to get it out there because they don't know. All they know is what they've been told on the news. So if you can put it in the garbage bill, we've got one more garbage bill before the vote. Get the facts out there so the citizens of Irondale can vote on the information. Thank you.
That meeting has already taken place and there is agreement that will be in the bill. The wording's already been, I think.
Well, I know
Stuart
it
has
wasn't in the bill we
it.
just got.
That's
So
right,
we
we were
got
too
one more
late to get it
shot.
in. You have one more bill coming, it will be in there.
Right.
We're also doing signs to put around the area.
Okay.
There will be other announcements both on our Facebook, on our city website, etc. So it will be advertised and One of the things as part of all this will be a calculator, so you can basically take your home evaluation and calculate what it would mean to you as an individual.
That was the third thing I forgot to say, that
No- no
that
problem.
was my third thing. If you have $100,000 home and it's going up $75 a year, if you tell people that kind of information, they look at it and say, $75 spread over 12 months, I'm okay.
Right.
And let them know what it's going to do and why, because right now I've heard more comments, oh, they're going to raise our property tax because Sam's. No, we were already
So
talking
Sam's
about
was
it.
not the reason because it was already in process
Exactly,
before
but-
Sam's.
But that's all they've heard.
Thank you.
And so we've got to get it, if we want it to pass, we've got to get it out there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comment. Anyone else?
Also, one other comment, they've also heard that now we're gonna use it to put it in the budget to pay bills. And that's not what it was intended for from the beginning.
I think that's also stated in the format. We'll see some of that when it's printed. I think Mr. Stewart had a couple of comments on correcting the calculator. And after we get that settled, it'll be something everybody can get a copy of by email to review.
Mike Kimball. I'd like to comment on the Grants Mill widening. The only way to get 4 lanes in there is to take down half the mountain, which is a really pretty mountain, and that leads right down into Cotton River. It's going to increase the water runoff. There's no way to engineer around that. Is it really necessary to spend that many millions of dollars? I'd rather not see Irondale look like Hoover. You go down there by Highway 150, they're chopping a mountain, flipping it into the valley. Why? To make more retail space in a place that has a lot of vacancies already, like near, you know, that new Whole Foods and whatnot. So keep the road in y'all's jurisdiction. Don't give it to the county just because we all want to have less traffic. Maybe make a bike lane, but does it really need to be 4 lanes just to get 30 seconds faster going up to Grantsville Road when you can go all the way around and jump on? So just wise use of public money was my position.
Do you live where you have to travel that road every day?
Actually, yeah, but I can choose. I can kind of go either way, so I just check my app. And
All right,
I
well,
can
it's
see
4 lanes.
I just look on the app and I say, oh, can I go around in 5 minutes or should I sit and wait in traffic? So there's ways around it if you're willing to look, but it's really, we're tens of millions of dollars for like 5 mile of road.
Appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Yes. In the morning, when people are trying to go to work, it's backed up from Old Leeds Road all the way to 459. In the evening, when people are coming home, it's backed up from Old Leeds Road halfway to where Sam's was. It's 4 lanes on both sides of that little short piece. And my grandparents moved to Irondale in '54. That was the only road through that end of town. It's not been improved in my lifetime, and it's time for it to be 4 lanes all the way.
And thank you for your comments.
Sure, just remember the fishing and everything down the road.
Thank you very much. Any more comments from that? Yes, please.
Scott Green, 5540 Rex Ridge Lane, also a Irondale business owner. Thanks for having me, Mayor, councilors. Anyway, if you're going to do the road, it would be great to see the continuation of that bike lane because it doesn't really go anywhere right now. But it needs to be longer. I had heard, Terry, to your point, one, I do travel it every day because I come to work.
And you know what it looks like.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It could be better. I had heard that the road might split and go up and over the mountain instead of cutting into the mountain. I'm no road engineer, but it seems like that might be a nice option.
Well, according to Mr. Knight, it's the responsibility of the county now.
Yeah, sure. So if the county is
He's the one
taking
you need to be talking to.
Yeah, if the county's taking the roads and whatever Irondale works out, it would be nice to think about smart streets and to think about bike lanes and connecting and talk to the Freshwater Land Trust for the Red Rock Ridge Valley. And also, they just, if you guys are familiar with it, last week, actually I think it was the week before, Regional Planning Commission put out their biking travel plan, and so it comes through this area, what they suggest, so I highly recommend that that is considered as the negotiations continue, whether it's an Irondale road or a county road.
Thank you very much. Any additional comments from the audience?
Regina Bearden, 4056 Sherborne Road, and it's that time of year again. We're looking for contestants for the Miss Senior Irondale. And y'all, we've had 3 years, great years. And this year I'm having a hard time finding ladies 60 years or older. If you live, if you work, worship, or live in Irondale, if you have a child or a grandchild in any of the schools in the Irondale city limits, which includes Jefferson Christian, and or if you're a member of the Irondale Senior Activity Center and you're over the age of 60, you are qualified, and we sure could use you this year. We have to have 3 contestants to have a pageant. And this is not just a beauty, it's not a beauty pageant, it's an age of elegance pageant. It's to prove to the people that ladies 60 years or older have something to give. We're not just sitting in our rocking chairs on our front porch or, you know, doing things like that. We're out and we're busy and we're viable and we're able to do things for the city or for whatever. And so if you know anyone that qualifies, would you please have them call my number? It is on the website under Terry's name, and we'll get this pageant. And I want you to also know that our Miss Senior Alabama USA went to the Miss Senior USA pageant and was crowned Miss Senior USA. She went to the Miss Senior Universe pageant and was crowned Miss Senior Universe. So this isn't something that we just do for the jollies of it. It goes on and on and on, and it's really a lot of fun. You develop a lot of good friendships. And so please, you guys, if your wives are over 60, please give them this opportunity. And we go to our grandchildren's baseball games, football games, karate, and all of that. Give them an opportunity to come and support you. You know, give them to be able to see. I was Miss Senior Irondale 2016, and my grandchildren still talk about that. They still talk about me picking up the baton again and twirling it. I didn't know I could still do it, but I did it. So please, please, we haven't set a date because we don't have any contestants, but I appreciate it if y'all would help me with this.
Thank you so much, Regina.
You're welcome.
And with that, I will make a motion that we close meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for being here tonight.